If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss, if I can even find it, the woke right fandom versus the woke left fandom. So, for all my normies out there and everyone who's too busy surviving the pre apocalypse, there's a bit of a controversy going on right now in the fandom community, the pop culture community online. And I've been observing it from the outside and making my comments here and there. And I decided, I'd rather just come out and just say my thoughts, read some of the stuff that's going on, and just address it. Maybe read some of my tweets that I've been putting out regarding the situation. But essentially, for people out there who aren't aware, there is a bit of a schism, a war going on right now, and it's been going on since, I guess you could say, since like 2016. And you have the woke right and the woke left. If you've heard me on my previous streams, I've covered this. I've talked a little bit about it. But essentially, what the woke left is, you've seen them. They're victim blaming. They're very aggressive and nonsensical with a lot of their demands and desires and interests. And their behavior, and this has become a new norm within the right as well. So I call the woke right, the pop culture woke right community, and the pop culture woke right, woke left community. They're pretty much two sides of the same coin, and one side, they both monetize off of hate and vitriol in a sense. Whereas one side kind of does it unintentionally, and that would be more of the woke left, because the woke left, they're nothing but communists and no different than the woke right, but we'll get into that. But they're social communists with their rhetoric and the way they behave and act, the woke left. Adding diversity and things like that, where there was already diversity and it was natural, it wasn't forced. They have their own version of racism, where it's a bit of reverse. It's like this liberal racism that the woke left has, that they try to instill into a lot of pop culture content, to the point where it's affecting revenues of large corporations. You look at what happened recently with Concord. You look at what happened recently with Dustborn. And you have the same thing going on the right. You have the woke right, and the woke right are, playing victimhood themselves. Oh, they hate us because we're straight white men. They want to erase white men from existence. We need to cancel anybody who doesn't support Israel. Oh my God, she supports Palestine. F her. I hope she doesn't do any kind of work. She's a shitty person. They both practice cancel culture, the woke left and the woke right. They both practice cancel culture. They both practice bullying. They both practice triggering each other. They both practice gaslighting one another. They both practice DEI, and they both practice racism. So there is no distinction between the woke right and the woke left, so to speak. But the issue that I'm seeing right now that's kind of going on is that the woke right has taken it to a point where they're monetizing off of the racism and bigotry that they dispel and they use to push their own personal agendas or to just make money. Now, this is something that I talked about last night, and to preface everything that we're going to cover and the letter, I'm going to read my Twitter thread that I posted last night regarding this whole topic, and I'll just pull it up just to make it easier, so that everyone can see it. But this situation that's going on right now, it's for me being on the outside, because I don't ascribe to either of these sides of the coin. I look at them both and I find them to be, pathetic. And mostly self-sabotage and self-serving for their own ideals. And I'm not really about that. So let's see if I can pull up my entire thread, or is it going to be a pain in the butt? Okay, it's not going to pull up my thread. All right, so I'm just going to read it to you guys from there, and then we'll just continue on. So this is essentially what I said. And then we'll go to the letter about what's going on. So I said last night, the pop culture woke right and the pop culture woke left are currently battling out upon the ashes of Hollywood. Both sides play victim. Both sides instigate and sow discord. Both sides' fan bases and followers are two sides of the same coin. Don't fall for either side's grift. Be your own individual. Don't allow them to dictate your thoughts or lived experience. The pop culture woke right and the pop culture woke left are now creating conspiracy theories regarding the situation with Star Wars, as both sides have drawn lines in the sand and the trenches begin to be filled with bodies vying to out-ratio one another and out-cancel one another. Renew the Acolyte has been the catalyst that has exploded the fandom pipes. Pause. As we watch the rats of the pop culture woke right and the pop culture woke left scurry and squeak their way towards absolution in their quote-unquote crusade, whatever the hell that may be, as both sides fight the same battle with the same phrases and talking points, monetizing off of the hate, anger, frustration, and apathy, while simultaneously sucking off the same taint. It's truly fascinating how far the pop culture woke right and the pop culture woke left have become one. Now keep in mind, while one side personally made it their mission to monetize off the fandom and communities because they know that making positive, balanced takes or criticism isn't profitable or gives them the platform they so heavily desire. The Acolyte has proven this to be the case. Many will complain that the campaign to get these channels demonetized is unfair and unjust. Well, same could be said about their rhetoric, propaganda, exploitation, and grift. Now, we're going to then go to the letter. Because, and we're going to cover, I have evidence. People have been documenting this stuff. So we're going to cover a lot of it. But I just wanted to kind of give you my points and where I'm coming from about this. Because both sides have been gaslighting each other, but one side, I would say, has been using the gaslighting as a way to really monetize themselves. And the issue that is here is that their channels are not made for are not labeled as adults only. They spread their words and their rhetoric and their behavior towards kids. So if you're a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old kid and you're hearing some of the ways that they're talking about certain communities and what have you, you are feeding into these kids preconceived notions about people and communities and adding a unintended consequence because you'd rather chase short monetary gain over long-term contribution. And the fact of the matter is that both sides of this community, they can't affect the culture as a whole. That is without a doubt. They can't affect the culture as a whole. But they can affect the communities that affect the culture long term. And that's something that I see as a bit of an issue. So let's get to the letter. The letter that has caused so much controversy right now. What are you doing? Okay, well, this is the letter. I don't know why my thing is being foolish right now. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, here's the letter. All right, dear Team YouTube. Now, this letter is what has started this whole thing. And like I gave you my points on how I feel about both sides of this. Now, this is the letter that's going crazy. Dear Team YouTube, last week Amanda Steinberg put her pronouns like we don't know that she's a woman. Posted candid comments to Instagram about the rampage of bigotry and vitriol that she has received since leading the cast of The Acolyte, the latest addition to the Star Wars universe. Steinberg's experience is not new. In fact, the known tactic was initially provoked by former Breitbart News editor Milo Yiannopoulos, who aggressively targeted the Ghostbusters actor Leslie Jones under the guise of film criticism. After prolonged insults against her, Ghostbusters character resulted in harassment against Jones on Twitter. Yiannopoulos claimed Jones was playing the victim when she called the actions against the harassment. The aggressive gaslighting of Jones' experiences resulted in Yiannopoulos being banned from Twitter. 8 years later, Yiannopoulos' playbook against marginalized actors has begun into a multi-million-dollar business on YouTube, which has been permitted to delve into unchecked with the help of YouTube Partner Program. This playbook's biggest target, Star Wars. So far, not wrong. A lot of these channels do, like I said, monetize off of the hate and vitriol. They're making money. A lot of them making hundreds and thousands of dollars, mind you. So let's continue. As fans of Star Wars franchise, we have timelessly witnessed a handful of YouTube creators consciously delve prolonged insults and harassment against marginalized actors and members of our community. Enough is enough. The Star Wars fandom demands that YouTube enforce its community guidelines against prolonged insults and incitement and targeted harassment towards women of color by demonetizing YouTube channels Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kindle, RK Outpost, and Nerderotic. Now, I have, in the past, followed these channels. Not Geeks and Gamers as much, but I did follow Ryan Kindle and Nerderotic. And so when I was following them, I would hear rumbles about people's issues with their content. I didn't really think too much of it. But as time got on and I became more self-aware of other things and I started listening more to them, I began to notice a weird pattern. And it all started around with the Blue Beetle movie. And the whole let's talk about it. And I was just kind of wondering, I'm like, I don't understand. Are you guys like mad at the movie, or are you mad at the fact that the actor is Mexican? That's where I started kind of questioning, what is their narrative here? Like, what's their point? What are they trying to do? And then I began to kind of notice other content creators kind of calling them out, and I started listening to a guy called Eric Debunks. And then I really started seeing, okay, this is what's really going on. And I was like, oh, this is a grift. This is just a grift. The grift that got way out of hand. The whole thing, don't fly too close to the sun. Don't get high off your own supply. And I think a lot of that is coming to bear. So let's continue on. The facts. In 2018, Geeks and Gamers encouraged harassment against Vietnamese actor Kelly Marie Tran, leading up to Tran's departure from Instagram due to prolonged harassment. Geeks and Gamers published nearly 15 videos relevant on Tran's Star Wars The Last Jedi character, Rose Tycho. The channel claimed that trans character is one of the most hideous characters of all time, the most unlikable character ever, and exists for forced diversity. Many of the comments found in Geeks and Gamers videos can be seen in hateful comments under the trans now deleted Instagram posts. Geeks and Gamers championed RK Outpost, a channel that frequently targets marginalized actors, including Moses Ingram, a black American cast member in the TV series Kenobi, days before Ingram called out racist backlash against her on Instagram. RK Outpost called Instagram a lunatic who can do nothing other than play the victim. RK Outpost has recently referred to Ingram's Kenobi character Reva as dumb and retarded. Geeks and Gamers and RK Outpost frequently co-host a live stream Friday Night Tights on Nerderotic's YouTube channel, where the three channels have made a profitable business resuming prolonged insults against marginalized actors featured in Star Wars, Captain Marvel, and The Lord of the Rings of Power, to name a few. Amanda is current target of the YouTube-based operation. Together, Geeks and Gamers, RK Outpost, and Nerderotic have led the charge against Amanda even before the release of The Acolyte, producing nearly 40 videos relevant to Amanda and The Acolyte since May. These channels have asserted that Amanda is a vapid and a narcissist, the adult pretender, dumb, and half-black bitch. Damn, half-black bitch. Woo! For defending herself against racism. These channels have gaslit Amanda by claiming she's playing the victim card, with RK Outpost proclaiming, "You've never been oppressed in your goddamn life, you bitch." Oh, all right. These YouTubers use racist dog whistles, including the angry black woman stereotype. The hate against Amanda has been so profitable that other major YouTubers have joined the attacks on Amanda, including Star Wars Theory, and Star Wars Theory. Okay, how many more good faith content creators will turn to profitable hate campaigns if this behavior is permitted to continue with no repercussions? Action required. Well, before we get to this part, listen, man, I've seen it. They're not wrong. They do monetize off of hate. We have evidence to prove it. I got clips to show you guys. But here's the thing. Both sides do it. The only problem is it's like, my whole thing is about authenticity. And there is a lack of authenticity from these channels. And I think that's the biggest issue that I see with it and I've had, is a lack of authenticity and just, you're not funny if you're just if you're just making mean jokes. If you're just being mean just for the sake of being mean, it's not entertaining. If you're making mean jokes just for the sake of making mean jokes, I don't find that entertaining. And my whole thing is, if you want to grift, fine. Everyone's grifting. What do you think of the presidential election going on right now? You don't think that's one big grift? Come on. But here's my thing. When it comes to grifting, grift morally, all right? With ethics and morals, if you're going to grift. And unfortunately, Nerderotic, RK Outpost, Geeks and Gamers, I've seen their content. They most often than not, they're not grifting with morals and ethics. And oftentimes, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're monetizing off of a lot of young, impressionable individuals. And this is what I mean, is that they're sowing a type of narrative and perspective and preconceived notions into various communities, into various fandoms. And this can have some dire consequences for everyone included. And, freedom of speech is not free of consequences, as I so eloquently posted last night on Twitter. And I would say that here is a consequence of your freedom of speech. So let's dive into some of this evidence of the woke right. All right, let's go. Yeah, let's dive into it. All right, here we go. Second, let me fix this real quick.
Got to experience what? I thought all you got to experience was bigotry and hatred. Now you're talking about how thankful for you, how you are, and how it was an honor. Well, if it was an honor and you're so thankful for it, why are you so focused on all of the bigotry and hatred? Because yeah, you probably got a few negative comments from a few assholes. Experience what? I thought all you got to experience was bigotry and hatred. Now you're talking about how thankful for you, how you are, and how it was an honor. Well, if it was an honor and you're so thankful for it, why are you so focused on all of the bigotry and hatred? Because yeah, you probably got a few negative comments from a few assholes.
24. That's just a couple months away, Jeremy, for one of the most highly anticipated shows in the history of Disney Star Wars. Zero doubt in my mind that this thing is going to be like a catastrophic dumpster fire. Based on what Leslie Headland said, that this entire thing is going to reflect her own queer identity and her experiences as an unfuckable lesbian. Can't wait for our female-centric Star Wars show, Jeremy. How excited are you for this?
I am predicting this will be the worst thing that Disney Star Wars has ever produced.
It's Starhurst. We know what's going to happen. The dudes will be either mantles in distress or duplicitous or incompetent.
White. I mean, you watched the trailer and you said that it felt like there was a lot of diversity, right?
That's all it was. It is a show to tell you how the white man is bad and how diversity is our strength. It's all over this trailer. All over this trailer. That's all I thought about. A lot of diversity. A lot of diversity. So much diversity.
Full diversity.
That was exactly what I expected it to be. The emphasis of the trailer is not to talk about Star Wars or to show you Star Wars. The emphasis of the trailer was to show diversity. That's 1000% what the main goal of that trailer was, is to show you how there are no focused white characters, white males, basically. Were there any? You can't break down. You can't break down barriers when there's no barriers to break. So you need to build fake barriers so that you can pretend to break them down. You can't break down barriers when there's no barriers to break. So you need to build fake barriers so that you can pretend to break them down. You can't break down barriers when there's no barriers to break. So you need to build fake barriers so that you can pretend to break them down. You can't break down barriers.
So that's a little bit. We got more to look at, but I wanted to show you guys that. We have more to show, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of kind of like what we're setting up here, and why it's increasingly becoming an issue. So let's continue on. Let me just get this nice and set up for you guys. Okay. Hold on. Here we go.
Discussion right now. I just created one for the past 5 minutes.
No,
No,
you
but
didn't.
I would have liked.
Did we just talk about One Piece for 5 minutes? Yes or no?
we didn't.
Yes,
One
we
Piece
did.
was used, but we didn't talk about it.
No.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it.
Don't act like that's not what we
I
do.
don't build a narrative. I
You
give
are an
my
absolute
opinion.
fucking.
You
are hard.
What we do. You've made the same fucking video on the same topic at least 7 times a week, Ryan. And you're gonna act like we don't do that.
I talk about I talk
Larson
about
says one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do. So this is an argument that we had on Friday Night Tights. I don't even remember the specifics about what the argument was. But every time I say the same thing that I say in this video, these crazy fucks that have pronouns in their bio and they're mentally ill, or just people that are just jealous in general, they go, he finally admitted it, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally admitted it 1,000 times. Whatever it is you think I'm admitting, I've said this 1,000 times.
Notice how he doubles down, arguing that what he said was both sincere and correct.
You know, this is a kind of rhetoric that people are having issues with. And so you have people here who are, you know, this is a kind of who are blatantly admitting that they, you know, are just grifting off of the community, off of these fandoms, off of these shows. So this is another area that we have going on, and this is, excuse me, part of the reason why you have a lot of people who are frustrated with this community, with, you know, geeks and gamers and FNT and all of them, because, you know, as we just saw in that clip, you know, Jeremy admits that they will create narratives out of thin air or out of little snippets or a talking point to make videos off of and to profit off of it and to create narratives that weren't even existed. That's one of the issues that a lot of people have with their content. And that's why you see, you know, as they put it, this hate campaign, you know, this censorship campaign, as, you know, the woke writer putting it, which is hilarious. It's actually kind of funny that the pop culture woke writer calling it a hate campaign when people are just providing evidence of them literally saying hateful and mean-spirited things for the sake of profiting off of it. So it's just a really funny situation that's currently going on. And like I said, you know, freedom of speech is not free of consequences. These guys have every right to say what they want to say. But don't be surprised when enough people gather together all of the things that you've said and present it to certain communities or institutions like, hey, what they're saying is not healthy for the community, for the algorithm, and look what you're doing. And like I said, these channels, Geeks and Gamers, Notoriety, none of them, they can't affect the culture. They are insignificant to the culture. But they can affect the communities that affect the culture long term. And that can be an issue. There needs to be a balance. And neither side has any real balance when it comes to the pop culture discussions and engagements and ideals and what have you. There's no balance. Both sides have swung so far left and right, and are exploiting each other so much that you now have these small fractions within it that are trying to break out of it and kind of bring some balance to the situation. And that's been my whole thing here. There needs to be balance on both sides. Let's continue.
Stellan Skarsgård is just a really awesome actor. He's a great supporting character and a supporting actor, which is what Diego Luna should be. But of course, Diego Luna has the diversity aspect, and I'm going to talk a little more about that. The flashback scenes are so stupid. All right, so this is Diego Luna's character. This is Cassian, and they do this whole callback thing, and they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are, and this is the only reason Diego Luna is the lead character of this series, because they're trying to push their diversity bullshit. That's 100% what they're trying to do. It's so dumb. It derails from the story. It gives me no interest whatsoever to learn more about this, because I know exactly what Lucasfilm is doing. Stellan Skarsgård is just a really awesome actor. He's a great supporting character and a supporting actor, which is what Diego Luna should be. But of course, Diego Luna has the diversity.
So that's another, I watched the first 3 parts, or 2.5, I should say, of Andor. I wasn't a big fan of it, mainly because it was very boring. Nothing was really happening. The pacing was just very slow, slow, slow. And I wasn't really that into Diego Luna in this show because he just seemed very, I don't know what it was. I just wasn't feeling it. So that's why I stopped watching the show. It was just boring for me. When the show was, here's the funny thing about that. When Rogue One came out, there was no forced diversity in Rogue One. Rogue One, you had Donnie Yen, you had a very you had Saw Gerrera, the actor who plays him. Oh god, I can't even remember his name right now. But there was no like forced diversity. That film was actually really diverse, but in a really fun and engaging manner. So, and I didn't see anyone have a problem with the diversity in Rogue One. So then, and Diego Luna was one of the leads in the film. They made a show based on the film because they really liked people really liked the character, and they liked that aspect of the galaxy and seeing the rebellion from that standpoint. And then all of a sudden, he's like hired as forced diversity when they already agreed to making a show about him after they released Rogue One. So the reason why I'm bringing that up to you is to show you that like they didn't greenlight the show because of diversity. They greenlit the show because they like the character and they like that aspect of the Star Wars universe. So just something to keep in mind. Like listen, if you guys want to support these channels and all that, go ahead. I ain't telling you what to do with your money, but just keep in mind what you're getting yourselves into and the type of narrative that you're going to be being fed.
A woman of color lead.
All right, here we go.
I have not seen this yet. I am not interested based on the fact that you're already presenting a woman of color lead character to me. I'm already out. I'm already out.
Just get ready.
I have not seen this yet. I am not interested based on the fact that you're already presenting a woman of color lead character to me. I'm already out. I'm already out.
Just get ready.
I have not seen this yet. I am not interested based on the fact that you're already presenting a woman of color lead character to me. I'm already out. I'm already out.
Just get ready.
I have not seen this yet. I am not interested based on the fact that you're already presenting a woman of color lead character to me. I'm already out. I'm already out.
Just get.
So, you know, you got to remember these guys, right? Their content is being shown to kids that are like 15, 12, 21, 18, very impressionable kids, right? And so you have them there saying, "Oh, well, I'm not going to play this game because you have a woman of color as the character." I wasn't interested in this game, Star Wars Outlaws, not because the main character was a woman or a woman of color. One, because it didn't look good, and two, it didn't look fun. It didn't, and three, it didn't feel like Star Wars. It felt like the aesthetics, but not Star Wars. And then it turns out that the game is broken on release, and they purposely uglified the character and made her more like a man as opposed to making her behave more like a female archetype of a character. So those were my issues with the game. It had nothing to do with her being a person of color. It had to do with the fact that this obviously wasn't a good, this game was not made well, and the people who made it did not have authentic or genuine intentions. And when you look at the character design and then you look at the actress who played her, you realize that they purposely made her look unappealing. The actress who actually played her in the green suit for the CGI stuff is a beautiful woman. So I don't know why, those are my issues. You see, anytime I approach a lot of these things, there might be diversity and there might be some DEI, there might be some communism in it. But it's more of like, how is it being approached? Is it being approached naturally? Is it being approached because it fits within the confines of the universe? Or are they forcing it down my throat? Are they virtue signaling? And you have a lot of the people on the woke right who have completely lost the plot. They can't tell anymore. They can't distinguish anything because to them, it's all DEI. It's all bullshit. It's all racism. It's all they hate white people. And then here you have these guys being blatantly racist, yet they claim that they're for the fandom. They want to protect Star Wars. They want to save it. I'm just saying, like, these are the type of people who are supposedly protecting the fandom and care about it. Let's continue. We have more. Let's continue.
That I'm making for this.
I
think
totally
that
agree.
The target audience, the demographic, 23-year-old, sexually confused, fucking pronouns in bio, trans flags, Palestinian flag, hashtag Black Lives Matter, these fucking freaks. I think all of them showed up and they spent time talking about it and making fan cams and promoting it and all this stuff. The reality is that group of people is not enough to support the show. It's not enough to make the show a success. And that is the hard pill that these freaks are going to have to swallow along with other hormone blockers, right? Like that pill for them to swallow, that they're actually not as big as they think they are, that they are insignificant, that they are a tiny fractional little part of this fucking fandom. And they're never going to accept that, just like they'll never accept the fact that they're actually biological females.
So, this is what happens, right? You got kids listening to these guys, all right? When you have kids listening to them and they're spewing this kind of stuff, it starts getting a bit concerning. Now, I'm not here to talk about Black Lives Matter and all that nonsense. You look into Black Lives Matter, it's got its roots in communism. I'm not here to educate any of you guys on that. If you want to know about that stuff, go check out Hotep Jesus or ask me about it in the comments, and maybe I'll talk about it separately. But the problem here is that if you notice, right, look at Nerd Erotic on the other side. Nerd Erotic's the one with the glasses. Ryan is this one over here. You notice how Nerd Erotic is thinking to himself, oh my God, bro, he is going way too far. And this is the issue. It's like you take it too far, it's gonna affect your ability to make money. Now, I do not support hormone blockers for children or any of that kind of crazy stuff. I don't support communism. I don't support social communism or any of that kind of stuff. But it's the rhetoric of how you approach these things. I mean, these guys got mad at an actress because she said free Palestine. And then they started calling her a Hamas terrorist because she's against genocide. And this is what I mean by the far right. The pop culture far right. The far right will attack someone for not supporting Israel and call them a Hamas terrorist because they don't want to commit genocide. And these are the issues that I have that I personally have with these communities and these content creators. Is you guys are spewing this stuff to kids. And there's no distinction between when you're being humorous and when you're being serious. And you can tell they have purposely done that. I've watched enough of their live streams and their content. When they behave like this, they're doing it on purpose because they try to walk that thin line of, oh, we're committing, we're joking. We have a comedian on the panel. We're all laughing, ha ha ha, he he, hoo hoo hoo. But we all know that that's not how it always plays out. And many a time again, when people are acting in horrific manners, there's always a group of people that are laughing. It just is what it is. So these are just, behaviors that people need to really keep in mind. Like, do you really want to keep giving your money and supporting these people? And a lot of them keep supporting them because they say exactly what's on their mind. And they say exactly how they're thinking. Okay, fine. But like I said, freedom of speech is not free of consequences. Okay, you can talk how you want to talk. You can speak your mind. Just don't be surprised when the consequences come for you. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue.
I'm not in this for the internet fame. There's 400 people watching this stream. If one of them knows my name now that didn't know it before, it's a success. I'm not in this for the internet fame. There's 400 people watching this stream. If one of them knows my name now that didn't know it before, it's a success for me.
I'm not in this for the internet fame.
I'm not in this for the internet fame. There's 400 people watching this stream. If one of them knows my name now that didn't know it before, it's a success for me.
I'm not in this for the internet fame.
I'm not in this for... We're not going to bend on our standards. At the end of the day, I have tried to build Geeks and Gamers by doing it the structured way, the methodical way, the think it out, prep it, take notes, think about everything you're going to say, and it fucking failed miserably on me. The day that I started doing what I'm doing right now, which is what you're, having a problem with, is the day that I started becoming successful.
We're not going to bend on our standards.
We're not going to bend on our standards.
We're not going to bend on our standards. Now, this is what I've been talking about. Authenticity. Now, he clearly took his standards and he threw them out the window when that first paycheck came in of him monetizing off of hate and off of gaslighting and triggering and bullying. You know that game Dustborn, that they're all like, oh my god, this communist game, you can cancel people, you can bully people, you can trigger people. I'm like, yo, you guys do the exact same thing. Like, they're no different. That's why I'm like, the woke left and the woke right, they're communists of the same coin, just two different sides. So that's why, like, when I saw this thing going on, this whole situation, I was like, bro, I gotta cover this real quick, get my thoughts out, because this is kind of like what we're dealing with right now in this fandom community. You have these just the fools on both sides. It's just crazy to me. And I'm like, hey, if you want to support them, go right ahead. I'm not here to tell you who to support. That's not my style. I'm not here to tell you who to support. I'm not here to tell you why you should support them. But one thing I know for sure is that continuing to listen to and engage in like negative content that just reaffirms your own biases and your own talking points and doesn't allow you to grow as a person, like, you're not going to enjoy anything in life. So I really hope that people kind of limit their engagement in listening to their content. Now, that's not to say that they're not right about some things. In fact, there are some things that they are right about. But at the expense of being right and surrounding it and coding it in all sorts of bullshit that doesn't really help anybody. And, you know, that's fine. You know, the Acolyte, it was not that good of a show. I watched it. I covered it. There were concepts in there I was really hoping that they were actually going to delve into and do a justice to. And they didn't. And I covered it. I covered all 8 episodes. I covered it. I said my thoughts and my feelings, why I wasn't a big fan of it. So the problem that I have with a lot of these channels and their content is that just be authentic. You know, I look for authentic people to listen to, authentic people that I can learn from. And these guys, they don't provide any real authenticity. I mean, there are clips out there of Jeremy talking about how much he loved The Last Jedi. But all of those clips are deleted because, you know, he don't want people knowing that he liked The Last Jedi. Yet he claims that he hates it. He still talks about how much he hates it, yet he liked it. So this is why I really recommend people just do not engage in content that's not going to make you a better person. That's not actually going to educate you and just give you the opinions and perspectives that allow you to make up your own decisions as an individual. And this is the problem that I have with both sides. And listen, whether or not these channels get demonetized or not, I'm not here to support any of that. But my whole thing is like, you're not free of consequences. And if YouTube finds that your content is affecting the TOS and goes completely against it, and enough people are frustrated with your content, there's nothing I can say. But this is the problem. It's like you like I said, you can speak how you want to speak, but don't be surprised at the consequences that follow it. And, you know, YouTube, they may or may not do anything, you know, because maybe a part of the reason why they're not going to do anything is because they make too much money off of the hate. They make too much money off of the vitriol and the monetization of that kind of shit. Excuse my language, but, like, you know, it is what it is. But if enough people speak their mind, maybe you might get some change. But, you know, who is to say? You know, time will tell. But my whole thing is like both sides really need to get their heads out their butts and really start, you know, engaging each other authentically and putting a lot of blame onto the corporations. Let's be honest here. Like, we have to put some level of responsibility on the corporations for the rhetoric, their behavior, and dividing these communities. and monetizing off of it themselves. Either way, it's all disgusting all the way around. So I really hope that people take some time and listen to my words and just make up your own decision and just don't get caught up in the BS. That's really it. And if there needs to be a part 2 to this, perhaps there will be. But I think right now we'll see how it all plays out. I'm like I said, I'm not in favor of cancellation. I'm not in favor of any of that stuff. But I'm like, hey, your choices have negative or positive consequences, and you have to deal with those consequences. And that's just the reality of the situation. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Hello there, I'm Kios, Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything, the Monday Mindset, the Monday Mindset Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show.